بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah we will continue from where we stopped from the Sulam of Al-Imam Al-Akhdari, and today inshallah ta'ala we will enter into the second type of Qiyas Istisnai. So in our last lesson we spoke about Qiyas Istisnai Munfasilah, and Qiyas Istisnai Munfasilah, the Muqaddam and the Tali are related. The Muqaddam and the Tali are related. This is the picture that I posted in our last lesson. We gave the example لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا. This is Qiyas al-Istisna'i al-Muttasil. Al-Muttasil meaning there is a connection between the first part of the sentence and the second part. The first premise and the second premise. لو كان هذا إنسانا, if this is a human, لكان حيوان, then it is a being. If it is a human, then it is a being. لكنه إنسان, but it is a human, فهو حيوان, then it is a being. So there is a connection between the muqaddam and the tali. So we have to get used to these words muqaddam, tali. The first premise is called the muqaddam, second premise is called tali. This is different than qiyas iqtirani. Qiyas iqtirani, we mentioned we have the muqaddimah al-ula and muqaddimah thaniya, the first premise and the second premise. But here the name is given as muqaddam and tali. So without wasting any time, inshallah, today we will enter into the next part. So as usual, we will look at the matan of Sulam. So the author mentioned Faslun fil Istisna'i. Faslun fil Istisna'i wa minhu ma yud'a bil Istisna'i yu'rafu bi syarti bil amtira'i. So we mentioned what is the meaning of Qiyas al-Istisna'i. So the difference between Qiyas al-Istisna'i and Qiyas al-Iqtirani is that Qiyas al-Istisna'i, the conclusion is one of the premise, either the muqaddam or the tali. But when it comes to Qiyas al-Iqtirani, it is deduced from from the premises. وهو الذي دل على النتيجة أو ضدها بالفعل لا بالقوة. This is the definition of Qiyas al-Istisna'i as we mentioned. All this we have spoken about. Last week this is what we covered. فَإِنْ يَكُ الشَّرْطِيُّ ذَا اتصال. This Qiyas istisna'i muttasil. أَنْتَجَ وَضْعُ ذَاكَ وَضْعَ التَّالِ وَرَفْعُ تَالٍ رَفْعَ أَوَّلٍ وَلَا يَلْزَمُ فِي عَكْسِهِمَا لِمَنْ جَلَى. So this is what we mentioned. لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا لكنه إنسان. So either we affirm the first part of the premise or the second part of the premise. If we affirm the first part of the premise, then it coincides with the second part. If this is a human, then it is a being. So these are the examples that we gave in our last lesson, and we have covered this. But this is how we can understand the words of Al-Imam Al-Akhdari when he used the word rafa' and wada'. So wada' meaning you affirm, rafa' meaning what you call it, you reject. So affirmation and rejection is mentioned as wada' and rafa'. So you can affirm the first part of the premise and you reject the second part of the premise. You can affirm the second part of the premise and you reject the first part of the premise. So this is the meaning of wada' and rafa'. So he mentioned وَرَفْعُ تَالٍ فَإِنْ يَكُنْ شَرْطِيُّ ذَا اتصال أَنْتَجَ وَضْعُ ذَاكَ وَضْعَ التَّالِ. وَضْعُ ذَاكَ وَضْعَ التَّالِ. If you affirm the muqaddam, you affirm the tali. The example is what we mentioned earlier. لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا لكنه إنسان. So now you وضع مقدم, you affirm the first part, the muqaddam. So if you affirm and you say lakinnahu insan, then the natija is, then it is hayawan. Because we say law kana hadha insanan lakana hayawanan. If this is a human, it is a being. Lakinnahu insan, and it is a being. Now we affirm which part? We affirm the muqaddam. So when we affirm the muqaddam, we also affirm the tali. So this is the meaning when he say antaja wad'u dhaka wad'a tali. Tamam. And then wa raf'u talin raf'i awwalin. And if you reject the second part, then also you reject the first part. And all these things, you can refer to the video which in the last lesson, how certain situation, two situations, and he will not give any good conclusion, two situations and he will give conclusion, as how you see in the table here. So this is Munfasil. In the table here, this is Qiyas Muttasil. So this is Muntij. Earlier as what we mentioned, lakinnahu insan fahuwa hayawan. But if we use any naqidul muqaddam, now we reject the muqaddam, we say law kana hadha laysa bi insan, we said law kana insanan lakinnahu hayawan lakinnahu laysa bi insan. So this is naqid and muqaddam. So now when we reject, meaning we negate. The better word is to use and is to negate. If we negate the muqaddam, la yuntij shay'an. Because if you say lakinnahu laysa insan, so negating humans, it doesn't mean that it must be something else, because hayawan consists of humans and other things. So when we say lakinnahu laysa insanan, it doesn't mean that other than humans must be any hayawan. So that is why we put a cross here. This shows that the natija cannot be derived. And then we spoke about naqidu tali. So now the second part, the last part is when we negate the tali, the second part of the premise. We say law kana hadha insanan lakana hayawanan lakinnahu laysa bihayawan. That's what you see here. Lakinnahu laysa bihayawan, then the natija is fahuwa laysa insanan. If it is not any hayawan, then it is not insan, because insan is part of hayawan. So this is the meaning of raf'u tali raf'ul awwali. That's what the author mentioned, wa raf'u talin raf'a awwalin. Tamam. This is what he said. So this can be a bit tough for some of you who are not familiar with so many of these terms, inshallah, but we will get used to it, inshallah. So this meaning wa raf'u talin raf'a awwalin wa la yalzamu fi aksihima liman jala wa la yalzamu fi aksihima. All these things are presented in this table. So we have all this possibilities. So the first two possibilities is when we do not negate anything. The second two possibilities is when we do a negation. We do in negation. So the first part in negation of the first premise, the second part is a negation of the second premise. So now inshallah ta'ala we will speak about Qiyas, Istisna'i, Munfasil. So we have completed Muttasil. Now we will speak about Al-Munfasil. Al-Munfasil basically the Muqaddam and Tali they are not related. They are not related. We will give an example later, but now we look at what the author mentioned when it comes to Qiyas Al-Istisna'i Al-Munfasil. He say wa in yakun munfasilan. If it is munfasil meaning detached. Fa wad'u dha yuntiju raf'a dhaka. Fa raf'u wad'u dha to affirm the first part of the premise the muqaddam, yuntiju raf'a dhak. It negates the second. If you affirm the first, it negates the second part. Wala aksu kada. Likewise, if you affirm the second part and you negate the first part. طيب, what does it mean? Yani he is speaking any about this. So let us any go to this any chart. So what any the author is saying, and basically this in the term you call it mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. This is an example of Qiyas al-Munfasil. But before that, let us look at the example. He said, Mithal al-adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. So this is there is a muqaddam and there is a tali. Where is any the muqaddam? Imma zawj, a tali imma fard. طيب, now what is the meaning? We say numbers, al-adad meaning numbers. Imma zawj, either it is even, wa imma fard, or it is odd. So we say this is mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Mani'atul jama' meaning you cannot combine both. Jama' meaning combination, you cannot combine. You cannot any be saying that a number yani is even and odd any at the same time. Yani it doesn't make sense. Yani number is either even and or odd. We do not have any a number that is even and odd at the same time. So we say this mani'atul jama'. Likewise, mani'atul khulu, we cannot any be saying that numbers there's no such thing as even any or odd. There is a number which is not even and which is not odd. Also any this is not any acceptable. So this is any the meaning of mani'atul jam'i wal khulu, meaning you cannot combine them and you cannot dispose any all of them. You cannot any dispose or reject any all of them. So it has to be either one. It has to be either one. So imma zawj, either it is even, wa imma fard, either it is odd. So where is the muqaddam? The muqaddam yani is imma zawjun. The tali yani is imma fardun. So now we have this al-munfasil. Why any munfasil? And as what we mentioned, there is no any connection any between a zawj and a fard. These are two different things. It is not any binding. So that is why it is called a detachment, al-munfasil. So now we will look at the possibilities. The possibilities yani if you affirm the muqaddam, uyyin al-muqaddam yuntiju naqid tali. Yani we say for example, al-adad imma zawj wa imma fard. Lakinnahu zawj. If we said but it is even, then meaning what? Falaysa bi fardin, then it is not odd. So now when we are saying numbers are either even or odd, but it is even. This number is even, meaning what? It is not odd. So this is the meaning. When you affirm the first part, you negate the second part. What do you affirm? You affirm evenness. What do you negate? You negate oddness. Tamam? We say this number is either even or odd, but it is even, meaning it is not odd. So you affirm the even and you reject or you negate the odd. So this is the meaning. This is the meaning of what the author mentioned. Now when we go back in the Sulam, the author mentioned, he said, wa in yakun munfasilan fa wad'u dha yani meaning you affirm the muqaddam yuntiju raf'a dhak, yani it will make you negate the second part. Wal aksu kada, what is the meaning wal aksu kada? Yani the opposite. What is the opposite? Uyina tali yuntiju naqid al muqaddam. Yani we say al adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. Now yani we affirm the tali. How do you affirm the tali? You say lakinnahu fard. Lakinnahu fard. Yani it is odd. If it is odd, then what does it entails? Laisa bi zawjin. Yani it is not even. If the number is odd, any meaning it is not even. So this is an example yani of wad'u tali and raf'ul muqaddam. Wad'u tali, this is the meaning of aks. Because earlier yani we say wad'ul muqaddam raf'u tali. Now yani al-aks. Wad'ul tali raf'ul muqaddam. Wadaka fil akhas. Now here the author already mentioned this is the what you call it, the al-akhas. Al-akhas meaning here yani mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. This is the specific example for this term mani'atul jam' wal khulu, meaning this kind of syllogism is a kind where it cannot combine and it cannot be disposed altogether. So it is either or. So this is the first situation. And then the author mentions summa in yakun mani'a jam'in. And now the author is going to speak about the second type. That is mani' jam'. What is the meaning of mani' jam'? The meaning of mani' jam', yani you cannot combine them. The meaning of mani' jam', yani you cannot combine them. Let me get the graph. Oh. Let me see. Hold on. I downloaded the graph. Okay. Just give me a minute. I will just get this. Okay. I will show the as usual, inshallah. Okay, this is an example of mani' jama'. What is the example? Al-jismu imma abiyad wa imma aswad. Meaning a substance or a body, either it is white or black. Imma abiyad wa imma aswad. Imma abiyad wa imma aswad. So where is the muqaddam? Muqaddam is imma abiyad. The muqaddam is imma abiyad. The tali is imma aswad. So now we cannot combine them, and we cannot be saying that a substance is both white and black. This is the meaning of mani'atul jama'. Meaning you cannot combine them. But it can be either than both of them. Yani we saying this something is not white and black, meaning it can be red, it can be yellow. So it is not mani'atul khulu. It is not mani'atul khulu, but it is mani'atul jama', meaning you cannot combine them, but you can get other than them. So this is the meaning of mani'atul jama' and mani'atul jama'. So it is different than earlier. Earlier we mentioned mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Al-adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. So numbers either even or odd. So this is mani'atul jama', you cannot combine, and also you cannot, it is not other than both of them, because numbers is either even or odd, and it cannot be other than both of it. But here is different. It only mani'atul jama', but other than these two, yes, you can affirm something else. So al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, you can negate both of it. You can say al-jism can be something that is not any abyad and not any aswad. Ala kulli hal, this is an example of mani'atul jama'. So we cannot combine. So now the author mentioned uyina al-muqaddam yuntiju naqid tali. So what happens if we affirm the muqaddam? We say al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu abyad. Lakinnahu abyad. We say a substance is either white or black, but it is white. Meaning what? Meaning it is not black. If it is white it is not black. So when we affirm the muqaddam, we negate the tali. So this is the meaning of affirming the first part and negating the second part. And the second situation is uyina tali yuntiju naqid al-muqaddam. Uyina tali yuntiju naqid al-muqaddam. So now we do the opposite. Al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu aswad. Lakinnahu aswad. So if it is aswad, then it is not abyad. Falaysa bi abyad. So this is the conclusion. So this is the right conclusion. Yani if you affirm the tali, you negate the muqaddam, no issue. The third one is naqidul muqaddam la yuntij. Yani if we say al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, but it is not any white. So if we say but it is not white, it doesn't necessarily mean it must be black. So here the conclusion, yani, it doesn't give any conclusion. The conclusion cannot be dependent on, because when you negate whiteness, and when you say lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, the muqaddam, when you negate the muqaddam, lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, it doesn't necessarily mean that it must be black. So that is why we say the conclusion cannot be ascertained. So this is the third part. The last is naqidu tali la yuntij. Now we negate the tali. So we say al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad lakinnahu laysa bi aswad. Lakinnahu laysa, but it is not black. So it is not black, not necessarily it is white. Same thing. So that is why we say here also that it is not muntij, la yuntij. It doesn't give the proper conclusion, because there are many possibilities. It is not any specific in its conclusion. So 2 is muntij and 2 is not muntij. So this is the example of mani'atul jama'. So again now we take a look at where we were in Sulam. So the author mentioned فَإِنْ يَكُنْ مُنْفَصِلًا فَوَضْعُ ذَا يُنْتِجُ رَفْعَ ذَاكَ وَالْعَكْسُ كَذَا وَذَاكَ فِي الْأَخَصِ. This is mani'atul jama' wal khulu. Then he mentioned ثُمَّ إِنْ يَكُنْ مَانِعَ جَمْعٍ, if it is any mani' jam'in, that's what we mentioned earlier. فَبِوَضْعِ ذَا زُكٍ رَفْعٌ لِذَاكَ. When we affirm the first, then we negate the second. Duna aksin. But when comes to the opposite, when we put a negation, then it doesn't give any natija, as what we mentioned. Wa idha mani'a raf'in kana huwa aksu the. This is going to be the third type, which is mani'atul khulu. Mani'atul khulu. Now when we go to the third type, it is called mani'atul khulu. What is the meaning of mani'atul khulu? The meaning, it cannot be other than what is mentioned. Mani'atul khulu. But it can be, it can be combined. So it is the opposite of mani'atul jama'. So he said, misaluhu al-jismu imma ghayru abyad wa imma ghayru aswad. So he said a body is either other than white or other than black. A body is either other than white or other than black. So there are 4 situations. Number 1, uyina al-muqaddam la yuntij. If we say, for example, al-jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad, lakinnahu ghayru abyad, but it is not white. Now this is la yuntij. Doesn't give any the conclusion. Because why? Because when you say but it is not any white, there can be other colors. There can be other colors. So it is not something that is specific to anything. So thus this kind of conclusion is not reliable. Because it is open to many possibilities, and we can say ghayru abyad are many, and basically all colors other than white. It can be yellow, it can be red, and so on and so forth. So this is what happens when we affirm the first part. Lakinnahu ghayru abyad. So if it is not other than white, what the color of this jism, we do not know. It can be white, it can be yellow, and so on and so forth. Now the second situation, now we affirm the second part, the tali. So we say al-jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad lakinnahu ghayru aswad, but it is other than black. Same thing, and it doesn't give a proper conclusion. This is what he mentioned here, the graph he mentioned, uyina tali la yuntij. So when we affirm the tali, it doesn't give any natija. Now the third situation is to take the aks. This is what the author mentioned. We take the opposite by negation. Yani we saying al-jismu imma rayu abiyad or rayu aswad lakinnahu abiyad. We take the opposite, correct? No, this asks because the opposite of rayu abiyad is abiyad. That's why I say lakinnahu abiyad fahuwa rayu aswad. So if it is abiyad, then it is not aswad. If it is white, then it is not. Then it is other than black. If it is white, meaning it is other than black. Now this is a proper conclusion. This is a proper conclusion, which is a correct statement. Yani, if something and it is white, we say a body, a substance, and it is either other than white or other than black, but it is white. If it is white, then meaning it is other than black. This is correct. This is a true statement. And then we take the tali. Al-jismu imma rayu abyad aw rayu aswad lakinnahu aswad. We take any the opposite any of the tali. Lakinnahu aswad, because any the tali rayu aswad. Now any we take the opposite aks is aswad. Lakinnahu aswad fahuwa rayu abyad. So if it is black, any meaning it is other than white. So 2 is muntij and 2 any is not muntij. When it becomes any muntij, when we take any the opposite any of the tali, then it becomes any muntij. But if we take any the what you call it muqaddam, if we take any the muqaddam, then what you call it, it is not yani muntij. So let us go back any to Sulam any to understand this. Yani the author any mentioned after he speaks about mani'atu mani'a jam'in. So he said raf'un lidhaka duna aksin wa idha mani'a raf'in kana fahuwa aksu dha. So this is what you call it, it refers any to mani'a khulu, as what any we mentioned. So by this any we have completed Qiyas any al-istisna'i. So basically Qiyas any al-istisna'i any is divided any into muttasil and munfasil. Difference any is that muttasil any the two premises muqaddam and tali are interrelated, whereas al-munfasil any they are not any interrelated, and they are of 3 categories: mani'atul jam'i wa khulu, and mani'atul jama' and mani'atul khulu. So inshallah in our next lesson yani we will speak any about lawahiqul qiyas. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.